Hi, peace and harmony here today to talk to you about narcissistic splitting. What is narcissistic splitting, and why is this a unique trait to the narcissist? The narcissist completely lacks a humanity or an ability to have empathy, which is the care and concern of another person. Empathy can be equated to walking in someone else's shoes, knowing how they feel, getting emotional over a sad story, understanding that they feel that things are tough, and really being able to resonate with them on an emotional level, understanding where you're coming from, knowing what it's like, understanding your story. Even the ability to hear somebody out is a good sign of empathy. Someone who exhibits a great deal of empathy is a good listener. Someone who is considering your story and is understanding the challenges that you've been through. They can relate to you. They have a compassion, and thus they have empathy. Some people with a high degree of empathy really absorb a lot of what other people are going through and actually feel it in their body. They actually feel a sense of sadness. They feel a sense of horror. They feel a sense of fear. If they were to see something tragic, they actually feel what it's, what is happening in that event. They understand the difficulty that's going through that person's mind or those people's mind in that situation. A narcissist does not possess this capability, and the psychopath, to an even greater degree, not only do they not contain that capability, they completely lack a moral compass. They do not possess a conscience, which is, a conscience gives you a sense of right and wrong. And I know that there's a spectrum between what between the narcissist and the psychopath, and it's really very much a degree of a spectrum. So maybe the person who you're with was a narcissist, maybe they were a psychopath, maybe they were somewhere right in between. But based on what you've seen and experienced with them, you kind of understand where they're at in the spectrum. But it is along the same personality disorder in DSM-3R, which is the diagnostic tool mental health professionals use in diagnosing and treating mental health disorders such as depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disease, and personality disorders. So as we were saying, the psychopath does not possess both qualities. The sense of empathy, which is feeling for others, having a compassion for others, and being able to understand how somebody's feeling, nor do they have a sense of conscience, which is a sense of right or wrong, or a sense of guilt, or a sense of concern. The psychopath really does not possess any conscience, so this gives them a tremendous ability to do things that normally would cause somebody to stop in their tracks and stop their behavior. They do not lack a moral sense of right or wrong. They don't feel a guilt. They don't have any mechanism within them to actually stop them. So they don't have the ability to actually stop themselves from certain behaviors because they don't have a moral gut feeling when they're faced with the opportunity to do something immoral, such as cheat on their romantic partner, get a divorce and not pay child support for their kids. It gives them a huge ability to move between lots of different romantic relationships to a stunning degree. Even within the same day, the same week, the same month. They can really rotate between a lot of different people and not feel any sort of connection, remorse, guilt, even if it's positioning you in a situation where you could be prone to a sexually transmitted disease, or they'll even take Viagra, these pills and things to keep them erect for a long period of time. They get roused by it. They have a very easy propensity to boredom, so this type of stuff is stimulating for them, and it makes them feel alive. And they actually derive a lot of pleasure and actually get off on being able to kind of outsmart other people, because if they know that this capability that they have is unlike what most people possess. So the narcissist and the psychopath actually feel like they have kind of a superpower. in that they can do certain things that normally other people would want to stop themselves from doing. So that really accounts for quite a degree of their success in business. It also has quite a degree to account for their ability to rise up financially, because oftentimes they're able to do things like siphon funds or embezzle, things that as I've said, are on a criminal level. That is very concerning, especially if you've been close to them emotionally. It's very destructive to learn this information. So I understand that completely. And then just getting back on track here with our discussion, and looking at the degree of empathy and the lack of empathy that they possess, and the concept of splitting, and how the narcissist is able to split, which is a behavioral term used to their ability to kind of be one way to you at your face, and then turn around a minute later and have completely different things to say, almost out loud, about you to another person, another girlfriend, another co-worker. They're able to really vacillate between these two entities. And why do they do that? Because it gives them just a sense of stringing along supply, for one. But it's a very abnormal behavioral trait in the narcissist that is able to do this, and quite regularly. I mean, think of it almost as gossiping, but they really switch on and off their emotions in their hearts, which is of great concern, because they're able to actually live with people and have sex with people just for the sake of a place to live. I mean, they have no problem with conducting themselves in this type of manner, where they're literally creating these intimate, and I'll put quote marks around intimate, where they're able to put themselves into what we would determine as intimate situations, merely for a place to live, merely as a way for their kids to get to know these children. They do it for all sorts of ulterior motives, which go to a huge degree greater than the normal person. So thus they are abnormal, and thus they have a personality disorder. So I just hope that this sheds some light on the disorder itself for you, and also kind of serves as an indicator for you that if you find yourself, observing these types of behaviors in a narcissist, then it's your clue, it's your red flag to basically know, it's time to move on from this relationship, and also to be able to identify this sort of trait and quality in others. And once you understand this, do not live in denial of what you see. Begin to trust your senses, begin to trust your feelings, because that's the only way you're going to grow. Once, if you continue to stay in a state of shock and disbelief and denial and enabling this to take place, the more pronounced your suffering is going to be in the future, because it's just typical progress. It's typical traits and behavioral patterns of the narcissist to love bomb and discard. So this is just how they move through life. It is how it is. And I guess you can't really take it personally, but be strong. Learn to identify the trait of splitting in the narcissist so you're no longer a victim. Be strong. Hang in there. Peace and harmony. Please subscribe for other great videos coming up here. I have some great topics that we're going to be delving into. Please subscribe or share any of my videos on this channel if you feel it might help or serve somebody. Take care. Bye-bye.